Welcome to Talkin VAWLS, week number 13. The coaching search is underway. The Vols are no longer bowl eligible, but we're looking to that future. Going to try to come up with something to talk about. We are at Talkin VAWLS_pod on Facebook and Twitter. Give us a follow. Let us know who you want to see as the next head coach for the Volunteers, but also show us some love. You want to support us. You want to help us get to that podcast platform. There's a way you can do that. You can go to patreon.com/TalkinVAWLS_pod. I'll put a link down in the description. Little funding. Help us, like I said, get on that podcast platform. But there's some rewards in it. Check it out. Help us grow as a podcast. My name is Boogie Bentley.
I'm Balls JP.
And I am Armaine.
Boys, it's been a crazy week. Crazy week. We're going to talk about the LSU game a little bit, but man, JP said it on here before. The coaching search is his favorite time of the year, and it is in full force. I got to fix my microphone. There's no way around it. It's going to make some noise there. There's no way around it. The coaching search is on. I spent more time on the message board this week. I found myself one day sitting in the recliner with a live feed of the airport on one hand and following a VolQuest poster that was at the airport in the other hand. And the coaching search is among us. JP, what's the mindset? Like, I'm not saying Gruden's coming, but it's fun to follow. What's your mindset of the coaching search here? What are we, 6-7 days into it?
The most fun and most excitement that has happened since, I guess, Lane Kiffin being announced at Tennessee and all the hype surrounding that. Absolutely. The most fun and most excitement. That's sad to say, but it's truth. It's reality. University of Tennessee and the powers that be, ever since they got rid of Fulmer and let Kiffin walk with the ridiculous low buyout that they had, they've not been interested. They've basically just been laughing at the fan base, and so, there hasn't been anything to really get excited about. But this week was absolutely crazy. I mean, absolutely madness. There's people on the message boards the most ridiculous rumors that you've ever heard, just craziness going on. But I think there's some truth to it all. I really do.
Man, there's one day I buy in, and I'm like, Gruden's coming. He's coming. And then the next day I'm like, no, he ain't coming. It's like back and forth depending on the day of the week. But, boys, it picked up some steam yesterday with the Grudens at Calhoun's. That looked exactly like him. And then you got Calhoun's confirming it, and only makes it worse. And then they back off, of course, and everything calms back down to normal. But what about you, Armaine? Any crazy stories from this week? You got a different viewpoint over on 24/7. Anything fun happening over there?
It's kind of the same stuff, but, man, I know Thursday I laughed. I absolutely laughed my head off Thursday at just the rumors. You see the guy at the airport. You see Hubs in the car beside of him. You see Hubs saying something about what the Phillips family's arrived safely, and then some guy posts that, and then he shows a gif of a car going said, but here's Hubs to get there, and it shows a car going sideways around a curve to get there. And then, golly, just the rumors, man. The ones last night kind of took the cake, got everybody excited, and then an ESPN production guy confirms he's in Seattle at the time. It's reached a level that's far surpassed 2012 at this point.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, I think it's a bit more real at this point, too, than it was in 2012. But it is. It's been highly entertaining. Just some of the stories, some of the stuff that's come out. I mean, you can't help but just laugh at it. You really can't at this point.
Yeah.
Some guys posting, some guys posting, I just laugh. Like you said, it's just like, it's not true. But when the ones, like you said, the ones with Calhoun, when they start growing, and you're like, well, man, this seems legit. You start getting excited, and Listen, I'm not saying he's coming. I still I think there is a possibility Gruden could be coming to Knoxville, and even if he does, like I've said it multiple times on here, I'm not sold that he would win. I mean, we don't know. The guy's not coached in forever. But dang it if it's not fun to get involved. And you can sit back and listen to us and say, y'all are stupid. Gruden's not coming. Gruden doesn't want anything to do with you. And this, that, and the other. It's still fun, man. It's fun.
Oh yeah, it is. I mean, it's sure funner than sitting around watching Tennessee football. That's for God's sure. I mean, my goodness. I mean, we've been lambasted by, got beat by Kentucky, got just annihilated by Missouri this year. Don't even, Alabama. What is it, 11 straight years that we've lost to them? Seem to be just nowhere near the third level. And Georgia, and I mean, what is there to get excited about as a Tennessee fan, unless it's the groomers? And I mean, that's, and you're already hearing people say, or there's reports out there that coaches are already saying, don't even contact me because of all the groomers and everything. Whatever, I mean, just whatever. And like Rocky said, I mean, it's already went way beyond it was in 2012. It's simple. Squash it. Just come out and just absolutely squash it. Currie refuses to do that. Refuses. So, if it's not legitimate, then, he's just setting himself up and whoever that the coach is, in my opinion, especially if it's not what we would consider a splash hire, he's setting them up for behind the eight ball to start out with.
Yeah, I agree with that because, I mean, if his name's not Gruden, people aren't going to be happy. And that's what makes me sit here and say, well, is it happening or is it still ongoing? Because if not, they do need to squash it because, like you said, I mean, it's setting the guy up for failure because I think you're already set up for. I think you're already going to be disappointed because you're so set. Because I think you're so. Yeah, I think you're so. I think you want Gruden so much that.
Well, I do. But I've got a list of coaches that if Tennessee rolls out there, then I'm gonna say, all right, let's go.
Let's talk about it. We chatted a little bit off air about this. So give me your list. If it's not Gruden, we all talk about a home run hire, the big time hire. So who fits that criteria for you?
For me, number one after Gruden would be Chris Peterson, Washington.
And number two?
Number two is going to be Patterson.
And I'll just throw you a softball. Number three.
Number three, and really you could put them. You could probably put Peterson and Chip Kelly as 1A, 1B, and then Patterson. So there's my three. I forgot about Kelly.
Those three guys. What if they don't have any interest in coming to Tennessee? That's my thing. Is
you make them have interest?
Well, how?
Well, I'm looking at it. Chris Peterson makes about $3.6 million a year.
So what would you offer him?
Yeah,
that is pretty low. But what would you offer him?
Well, I'd start out. I'd at least offer $6 million.
I think Chip Kelly, there is no way he coaches at Tennessee. I think you might as well take him off the table as far as your top three. I think
Chip Kelly's job got announced today.
Yeah.
They're saying Florida, aren't they?
No, I think once Moore got fired at UCLA, that's where Kelly's going.
Yeah, possibly so. I saw a report before we jumped on here that Florida's 247 site, I reckon that their mods are claiming that they're hearing really positive news about Chip Kelly in Florida, though.
It's either Florida or UCLA if he coaches, right? I don't think Tennessee is a reality. I don't.
So why not?
I don't think they're going after him.
Okay, so why would John Currie not go after Chip Kelly?
You tell me.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I'm saying.
I'll agree with you on that for sure.
I mean, it doesn't make any sense in my opinion.
And he may have reached out and Kelly didn't have interest. I don't know. Obviously, we're speculating on all of this, but yeah, I don't know. If he didn't reach out to Chip Kelly, I dang sure don't want to play a Florida football team coached by Chip Kelly every single year. That's for dang sure. I mean, I said from the beginning of this ordeal that I wanted Chip Kelly. I probably wanted Chip Kelly more than I did Gruden, honestly.
Yeah, I don't want to play Florida coach Chip Kelly coached Florida team with somebody Mullen or below. I can tell you that because that ain't going to end well.
Well, I was mulling it over before we started this thing, and I got a problem with that comment. Go ahead, Rock.
Well, I knew that you would. That's why I said it.
I
know
think
that's
Mullen
why you said it. Jerk.
I don't think Gruden's happening. You know, Thursday night I'd bought in. I thought it was happening. After Thursday night, I don't know. I'm kind of disappointed. I don't think it is. Mullen, I think Mullen would do well here. I think Mullen could hang with whomever if you give him time. Mullen's my one. Number two, once it goes past Mullen, and I'm not saying Patterson or Peterson just because I don't think they're realistic.
See, that's what I agree with you on. That's what I don't think we can get mad at Currie and say, well, why didn't he bring us a home run? Well, if Patterson and Peterson aren't realistic, you can't really blame. You can't blame Currie for that. But go ahead with your list.
Okay. Well, I mean, there's a report. 247 had a report on Patterson the other night that they didn't even think he would be interested at all. So that's kind of what I'm going off of there. Would he be a good hire? Yeah, absolutely. But I haven't heard Peterson mentioned, so I'm not going to mention him just because I don't think that's realistic. But Mullen's one, and that's where I kind of get scared at that point if it gets past Mullen. And that's why I'm saying, and I've come around to this, and you guys are going to say I'm crazy, but might as well, if it gets past Mullen, revisit the past and hope for
the Lane train.
Yep. I think that's would be my number two at this point because of the names mentioned. I don't know about, I've seen Taggart. I think he could be okay. He's done pretty good where he's been. Record's not great at Oregon this year. I think he's 6-5, but they were 4-8 last year, so it's not like he took over the Oregon we've known the last few years. Norvell's one I keep getting mentioned. I don't know about that one. I hope he's really more interested in Arkansas or Ole Miss. And then I just don't see anybody else, especially when we're getting down to coordinators. Kiffin would be my number two then. At that point, I think he could come in and make a splash right there.
Well, it would be a splash, all right.
Yeah, I mean, it may be a brown splash, but
my problem with Kiffin is not the fact that he left. Like, I was pissed at the time, but that's in the past. I don't really care. My problem is, can he win? I don't know that he can win in the SEC. I don't know. He's not done enough to prove it. But I'll say this. I don't think it'll ever happen. I don't think it will ever happen. If it did, after his first press conference, I'd be the biggest Lane Kiffin fan. That's what I loved about the guy. I loved his attitude, we're going to come and we're going to whip your ass whether you like it or not. He didn't care who you were. He didn't care what your record was. He had that attitude and mindset that reminds me of Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly and Lane Kiffin think they're going to win every single week no matter what, and they coach that way. Butch Jones coached not to lose, and I hated that. And that's, as much as I defended and loved Fulmer, that's what drove me nuts about him too. I can't stand that mindset. Go out and coach to win, and I would buy in to Lane Kiffin, but I don't think that's going to happen. I'm a Mullen guy, man.
Pissed way too many.
Oh yeah.
You
I don't
think brass off.
It'll never happen.
I think so, but I mean, just theoretically speaking, I don't.
Yeah.
Out of who's been mentioned, I after it gets past Mullen, a name I've seen mentioned today as well, and you guys may have seen this. John Harbaugh has been mentioned around. Mm-hmm. That would probably be a pretty good hire right there. I don't know that there's anything to that, but that's kind of a interesting name to come up. So
how's that going to work with the timeline that Currie said?
That's what I'm wondering too, because I mean they're right in the middle of an NFL season. I wouldn't think he's just go up and leave right in the middle of the season. So that's why I don't think list it, because it just doesn't fit the time frame. I've got to be thinking that Currie wants to have his hire ready to go after Vandy next week, and I can't see Harbaugh falling under that tree. And before anybody out there listening jumps to a conclusion, I said John and not Jim. We know Jim is not leaving Michigan. So it is John who is the head coach of the Baltimore Ravens. So get it right if you're going to mention it out there, please.
Oh, that's hilarious. Let's talk about Dan Mullen because he's my guy. Man, that's who I want. Like I said, I do want Gruden. I hate to keep saying that I don't. I don't know. Mullen, to me, I don't know that I would call it a home run hire as much as a safe hire. I think he would come in, and I think he would compete, man. He's taken a Mississippi State team to #1 in the nation. He consistently competes, man, and his record might not be the best, but he's coaching at freaking Mississippi State. Tennessee, he's going to recruit better there. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I think the guy would have success. JP, I know Rocky, I know you agree with me, but JP, you don't. Let's talk about it. Why? What would you be all out on Mullen, or would you be more patient and have to let it play out?
No, I mean, I've said that if it's Dan Mullen, I'm not going to be like, oh, he sucks, it's not going to happen, blah, blah, blah. You know, he's not going to be any good and stuff like that. I'm just not convinced that he's going to get Tennessee to the level that, you know, I expect, and I think many of the fan base expects, and that's to compete year in and year out for the SEC East, with, you know, every 2-3 years making it to Atlanta, and then hopefully, you know, maybe once out of every 4 years or 5 years actually winning the SEC. I'm just not convinced that he's going to do that. I mean, I understand that he's at a disadvantage at Mississippi State. I do. I understand that. He did lose to Jacksonville State last year. I'll just throw that out there. I mean, this is his 9th year, and his 8th year he loses to a 1AA school. I mean, yeah, just saying. I mean, it's just, I'm just not, I'm just not going to get just all buzzed up over Dan Mullen. I think that there's a reason why that Florida hasn't went after him for some reason. I
thought it was reversed. I thought he had issues with the Florida AD was why that had never gone down.
And maybe he has. You know, maybe he has.
I think Mullen, my big thing. I don't think coaching will be. I wouldn't be.
Sorry,
I wouldn't be worried about his coaching. It's can he recruit at a high level? Because you're going to have to come here. That would be my big concern with him. I don't think coaching will be the issue or anything, but you know, different resources, better facilities, more tradition here. But you know, it all goes back to here's the bottom line. Curry's got to hit a home run right here because UT's on the point of being totally irrelevant in college football.
They are. We are.
If he craps the bed with this hire, we're done. I mean, we'll be having the same podcast every year talking about the loss each week. And this 5-7 stuff's what we'll be used to if Curry doesn't get it. I've got full confidence he will. It seems to me like he's doing. I don't know. He's going all in. It seems like, and I think he's vetting a little bit of everybody at this point. So Mullen, I think, would win. I think he'd definitely be an upgrade here. I do have concerns about recruiting, but again, he's never recruited at an environment like here. He does know the SEC. I think that's a big plus right there.
I do too. I agree with that completely. That's why that I would think that even though somebody like Norvell or somebody may end up being a better coach, I think that at this point in time, like you just said, Tennessee has got to get some stability and they've got to get back to winning some football games and so forth. And you're just taking a huge gamble with somebody like Norvell or even Scott Frost. I mean, there's people saying that he's the next Urban Meyer or whatever, but who really knows that? I mean, who
Tennessee
honestly
could have taken that chance before Butch Jones. I mean, that's what they did with Butch Jones or a Brom. You could take that chance. The program is way too fragile to gamble right now, and that's why
I'm saying.
I keep saying. I know. Well, I know you seem to be agreeing with us. Is what I'm saying. That's why I say Mullen. I'm not saying Mullen's the home run hire. I'm saying he's almost the safe. He's the hire that when they announce him, I'd be like, all right, we're in good hands. Let's see what happens. Whereas, man, an up and comer, I'll get behind him and I'll support him, but it's going to be hard. It is. There's a lot of unknowns.
I mean, I'm going to be like JP here. If whoever it is, you're going to have to prove it to me. I mean, just plain as that. And
yep.
We've had hope. We've supported Butch. We've supported Dooley. No, there was nothing behind it. I mean, Dooley didn't leave the program in good shape. I'm honestly starting to wonder if Butch isn't leaving it in almost worse shape at this point, based on what we were seeing from the offensive line. But I'm sure that's something we can touch upon later on. But you've got to hit on this hire right here, or if not, Tennessee is done, just plain as that. It's done as far as we know it, and it's going to take hitting lightning in a bottle at some point to get it turned around. Mullen represents, I think, a good hire. I think he could get them an SEC East championship. We'll see, though. I'm just afraid you get past him. I'm kind of worried if it gets past him.
It's just a flip of the coin. Then I mean, it is purely just the flip of the coin as to whether or not somebody that's an up and comer is going to make it or not. And if it ends up being an up and comer, I've said on here for weeks, they're going to have to prove it, blah blah blah. That doesn't mean I'm going to sit around and badmouth them and all that stuff. But I'm not buying the T-shirt, saying Mullen please or whatever.
No, man, come on, it's
Norvell
please,
or
mulling it over,
mulling it over, or whatever like that. I'm just not going to do that. Like I've said, you win the SEC East, you recruit consistently, top 5, top 7 in the nation, because I know that you guys disagree with me, but that's what it takes.
I don't disagree.
That's what it
you.
takes to compete for a national championship.
That was a different text thread. That was a different.
If I'm not interested in winning a national championship, then why am I sitting here wasting my time tonight, sitting here talking about Tennessee football? I mean, that's just the bottom line. I mean, why am I wasting my time? Why do I waste my money to go to games? Why do I do all of that if I'm content with winning 7, 8, 9 football games a year?
I kind of want to go back and touch on that recruiting and recruiting versus coaching. I want to go back and touch on that because I think that's a good topic. But let me ask you this: what up and comer or what young gun would not excite you, but if you had to go with an up and comer, who would you take? Because Norvell would be my guy that I think what he's done has been impressive, and I think he would be on the top of my list if you didn't have a home run and you had to go with an up and comer. I think what he's done has been impressive.
Scott Frost.
I'd go Taggart. Even I know he's at Oregon, but he's still kind of considered an up and comer. He's turned around Western Kentucky. He's turned around South Florida as well, and I don't know. His recruiting is high right now at Oregon. He's got the 6th ranked class right now, which is higher than they've normally been. I think he could be a good hire, and from what I've read, he is interested too. So that would be probably my choice of an up-and-comer.
I think part of my problem with him is his record now. What is he, 500?
He's 6-5, but like I said, though, you got to think he took over a 4-8 team, so it's not like it was just loaded up. From what I can tell,
I guess I honestly just don't know enough about the guy, honestly. So the first thing I do is I look what he's doing right now, and then it kind of turns me against the guy.
Well, Oregon up there, one of their issues, for years they were just quarterbacking grad transfers for a couple years after Mariota left. So I don't know how deep their depth was there. He's probably adapting to a little bit of a different scheme up there as well. Again, I'm not saying that's my guy or nothing, but I think Frost would probably be pretty. I'm kind of gathering Frost isn't interested. And, of course, there's rumors with him to Nebraska also, but
yeah, I think that's the hold up there.
Norvell, I don't know enough about him. I've seen some positive things on him and stuff, and he may be a good hire. I just wonder. I don't know a lot. I know they like to throw, but can they line up and get a yard when you need it? I want a guy who's going to line up and run it down your throat when you need a yard, and they're not going to think twice about it. And by God, they're going to get that yard. Is Norvell the guy? I don't know. I don't want another prissy offense, so to speak. I want somebody come in and pound it down your throat. And, like in 2015, some of the games we lost, we had a chance to run them out, and we couldn't. We need somebody that's going to come in and get that done. I don't know that Norvell's that guy. I think Taggart has a little bit of that in him. I think Mullen's got a little bit of it as well. But, again, like we said, flip a coin once you get to a point here.
Well, let's pick a fight. Let's start an argument, but I don't know that I'm going to like the outcome of this one. What is it? I know we all three know it takes both, but where's your priority? Jimmy's and Joe's or X's and O's? JP, I know where you stand, so I'm going to go to Rocky first. What's more important, being able to recruit? Again, I know it takes both. Being able to recruit or having a coach that can scheme it up and get it done with X's and O's?
It's a hard. I would say X's and O's because we've seen it. Butch has recruited pretty well, but he hasn't had the X's and O's. But you said it right there as well. You've got to recruit too. So it's kind of it can't be an either or right there. It has to be both, or Tennessee football's irrelevant. That's just. But you've definitely got to have an X's and O's, guys. You've got to have a football coach in there, not I almost said the word, a BSer. All right, you can.
Wouldn't be the first time something flew on this podcast.
Yeah, well, you can't have a BSer. You've got to have a guy. Like you said, he's got to be able to scheme. He's got to be able to coach. He's got to be able to develop. But at the same time, you can't be bringing in a bunch of 2 and 3 stars trying to develop them, going against Alabama, Georgia, Florida. When Florida gets the right hire, they'll be recruiting well again. You just can't match 2 and 3s against 4s and 5s all day long. So I think X's and O's are the most important because you got to be able to develop what you got, but it can't be either or.
Yeah, it takes both. Like I said, we all three know that. But I think the comment that started the conversation was JP said you got to have a guy that brings a top 5 class. And
you do?
I don't think you do. I think X's and O's. I would rather have a guy that can coach it up. It's like you said, look what Butch has done. Butch has brought good recruiting classes, but he sucks as a coach, and the talent is, it's suffering because of that. I'm not saying I know it takes both, but maybe it's because I'm so dang frustrated with Butch. I'm sick of how many times have we talked about it on Talkin VAWLS. We got 3 5-star defensive linemen. Well, they look like 3 stars. So what difference does it make if you're a top 5 recruiter if you can't coach them up? You got to be able to coach. And how many times have JP, have you complained about not making adjustments? That's not a recruiting. That's a stupid coach is the problem.
All right. And I understand it. I've said it before on here. I'm not saying that you can just recruit a bunch of 5-stars and have all this talent out there, and if you don't know how to coach football, that you're still going to win. I mean, that's obvious. When we talk about Jones, if you go look back at his recruiting classes, his best 2 classes were 2014 and 2015. I think that we finished 4th nationally in 2014 and 7th in 2015. But look at how many of them left or quit or ended up injured that just never panned out. So, a lot of that is on Jones. I do think that if Dan Mullen could come in and get a top 5, finish 4th one year, 7th one year, then yeah, I think in year 3 that he could be competing, because I do think that he is a decent football coach. But, who is the best college football coach right now? Who is it?
It's got to be Saban.
Well, that's a no-brainer.
Okay, so is he the best X and O coach, or is he the best recruiter?
Didn't we just have this argument?
Well, we don't know.
I think he's freaking
pretty good at X's and O's. I mean, you can't really.
I was going to say I think it's
you
both.
Can answer it just because. And this kind of goes back to another argument. Give other guys that talent, see what they can do. That would then determine the coach. But, yeah, he's pretty good X's and O's guy.
Okay. So, when he was at Michigan State, he won 58% of his games at Michigan State. So, if I'm taking I can finish top 15, 16th in the nation nationally in recruiting average, and I'm Nick Saban, are you saying then that he's going to win 4 national championships at Alabama like he has the last 10 years?
I'll counter it. Why do we keep talking about Nick Saban on here?
Well, the argument is college football
you're throwing numbers
is all about the Jimmies and Joes.
No, nobody said that. Nobody said that.
Auburn won a national championship in 2010 with Cam Newton, who dominated every single football game. One guy. The very next year, they fire their coach because Scams went on to the NFL. If that doesn't prove it, look at this year. Look at Butch Jones. I mean, we've talked about it on here. Josh Dobbs kept him in a job probably 2 years longer than he really should have been. If it hadn't have been for Josh Dobbs, Butch Jones would have been fired in 2015.
Well, let's twist it to this. What if Dan Mullen was coaching that team? We talked about this right before we went on air. If Dan Mullen was coaching that team last year, there is no doubt in my mind they would have been in the SEC championship game. No doubt in my mind.
I'm not going to dispute that because...
But that's what I'm saying is you're putting circumstances and numbers to defend your point. Well, I can do the same. Well,
I'm just telling
Josh
you
Dobbs
right now,
is a player. Well, let me change the coach.
If you don't finish in the top 7 year in and year out in the national recruiting rankings, you are never going to get to be at that elite level. Go back and look at Philip Fulmer's recruiting rankings in the early 1990s all the way up until, 2000. Just about every one of Fulmer's recruiting classes finished in the top 10. In most cases, he was in the top 5.
Well, I was going to say, you just said top 5. You said top 5, then you say top 10. You're twisting your numbers to fit your narrative.
Okay. All right.
You guys want to talk about LSU, or do we have any more fun arguments or coaching nuggets that we want to drop?
Let's just hire somebody that finishes the top 15 in recruiting, but that's good enough for 7th overall in the SEC.
Let's talk about when you say that. You can't say that when somebody's recruiting at freaking Cal Pi U. You cannot compare recruiting at Mississippi State to recruiting at Tennessee.
Let me throw one out here. Let me throw one out here.
I didn't say that.
2015 rankings, Clemson, number 9. 2016. Waiting on it to pull up here. Sorry, guys. Clemson was number 11. Clemson just won a national championship, so.
Yeah, but what were they in 13, 14, 15?
I just told you 14 and 15.
What about 13? When did Dabo take over?
I'm not sure. When did he take over? He's been there a little while now, has he not? 2013, Clemson ranked 15th. So.
Oh, it's awkwardly silent.
So, I mean.
I got my stat guy. I thought I was going to be I thought I was going to be a 2-on-1 handicap match. I got Rocky pulling stats while I'm yelling.
I understand the point and everything, and I understand it's probably more important from an SEC standpoint than it is an ACC, because in the SEC, like I said, you finish 15th, you're going to be 7th in the conference. You finish 15th in the ACC, you can still be top 2 or 3. But still yet, that's going to come down to at that point. You've got to be able to do a little bit of both, X's and O's. And obviously, with that being said, Dabo's pretty good at X's and O's too.
Well, I mean, that's the point. It's like I said from the beginning of this argument. All three of us know it takes both. We do. I just think it's an interesting conversation to have. And I think I lean towards X's and O's. That's just my opinion. But like I said, we all know it takes both.
Well, look, too, Oregon was up there for a while too. Oregon didn't have top 10 classes. I mean, they got run out of the building a time or two, but they played Auburn right down to the wire as well. I was looking here as well. 2012, Clemson was 20th. So I think Clemson's may be more of a case. They normally don't sign a full class either, so they kind of hit what they need, and that may be a little bit misleading, but still, yet that's what the rankings have it at.
They also had Watson.
Yeah,
too.
I mean, you get
kind of like scam.
Yeah, I mean,
Newton.
one guy can make a difference like that at quarterback. There's no doubt about it. But you've also got to build around him too. I mean, because Dobbs
you definitely have to.
If we'd have had a defense worth anything last year, Dobbs would have. There's no doubt in my mind we'd won the SEC championship. Or SEC East, yeah.
SEC
yeah.
East. I was going to say, I'm
Yeah,
going to correct that before you get
yeah.
annihilated, because I knew it would be coming.
Yeah,
I knew what you meant. That's funny. Keyboard warriors are firing their fingers.
I mean, but it goes back. You've got to be able to do both.
You do. I mean, you certainly do. I'm not going to sit here and say that you signed the number 1 recruiting class every single year and you're just going to dominate. It ain't going to happen. But I'm going to take my chances with those 4 and 5 stars over a few 4 stars with a mixture of 3 stars.
I definitely agree with that. I mean, we saw what was it, the year before last, our class was littered with 3 stars, and I mean, we'll feel the effects of that. Some of them may be developed and stuff, but you can't. Not in the SEC. You're going to be middle of the pack if you do that.
Yep.
But I mean, it's going to go back. I think Mullen. I think he'd do well at Tennessee. Again, I think he's a good X's and O's guys, and I just wonder who he would bring with him from a staff, because he kind of goes through the defensive coordinators, if I'm not mistaken. 'Cause I think he had Sermon. This year he's had Grantham, whatever his name is. Used to be at Georgia, was at Louisville. Is that
had that Manny Diaz for a while, didn't he?
Manny Diaz is doing now at Miami. I mean, he's got them pretty stout defense down there. You're right, he had him for a while. So I don't know. I would have to see. Whoever comes is going to have to bring a staff of guys that can recruit and coach. It can't just be one or the other. You can't have a guy that's just going to be in there and be some old veteran riding it out. that coaches doesn't want to hit the road a lick or anything like that. What was the offensive line coach Dooley had? That was
Heinstein,
yeah,
Harry
something
Heinstein.
like that. I don't think that guy recruited a lick while he was down there. Wasn't that bad of a coach, but he didn't recruit a lick, and so you're gonna have to be able to recruit and coach, and you're gonna have to bring a staff with you at Canada's not, because if you bring a bunch of idiots with you, then it's not gonna matter.
Bring the best coaching staff in America with you from Cincinnati.
Well, that was his undoing, is he got rid of those guys, because things weren't going too bad when he had them, and then he tried to change it up, but that's another day and time, I guess. Not that they were.
He also had Dobbs with him at that time,
but
too.
If he'd have kept Jancic, he'd probably kept his job.
Let's talk about LSU. I do want to talk about it some. Hoke taking over for these last two games as the interim head coach. And, man, honestly, watching that first quarter, it was fun. It was fun to see some changes. The pace of play. It's what Tennessee should have been doing all year long. And Rocky, you said it before, how a change in the head coach can light a spark. I will go on record. If they had fired Butch earlier and let Hoke coach some of these games, I think Tennessee would be going to a bowl game. I think he made the right changes. Like I said, the pace of play. I don't know, man. I like getting in the huddle and just going under center. Just little things that he did make me believe that. And the players played with energy, man. I know a bowl game's on the line, but they've been through so much crap that you could easily see them coming out and playing flat. But they refused to do that. They came out with energy, and man, I was having fun in the first, really the whole first half. I was having fun. It was fun to see. I'm kind of a little distracted. They just finished the race. Martin Truex is your new champion, but by the way, but yeah, I was kind of the same way. I liked that they slowed it down a little bit. I still thought the play calling was a little suspect, but at the same time, kind of, I guess, what can you do with four scholarship linemen available to you? But I was kind of believing a little bit there in the first half that we had a shot, and then it just went downhill in the second half. But I am a firm believer if Butch would have been canned after Georgia like he should have been, that Tennessee would be bowl eligible right now. I'm a firm believer in that, because they had a lot more energy, played smarter, didn't just try to go up and down the field. And I don't know. We'll see. I mean, that first quarter, the D played great. Obviously, the fumbled punts put them in a bad spot, and then you came out to start the second half, and the weather, I mean, you couldn't ask for a worse start to the second half. You're down 7 thinking you got a chance to come out and make something happen, and you can't even see the kickoff. But I saw on VolQuest they asked why they kicked off in that mess, and they said Hoke said, let's play football. But I don't know why.
That's what they said.
I don't know why the coach of the Tennessee Volunteers has any say-so in when they actually play or get rained out or just wait. Because even the announcers were saying it's not going to last long.
Yeah, I know it. I mean, I didn't understand that. There was a lot of people questioning why that he went for it on that fourth down play there about their 20-yard line or whatever. And I mean, certainly that can be questioned, but I mean, it was like an inch is basically all that they had to get, and you would think that any team could do that, but obviously we can't. But I was more bumfuzzled about him starting the second half. If he truly had the option to decide whether that they needed to delay the start of the second half, that was a head scratcher for sure.
Yeah, because that come back to bite them.
Do you think that's? I don't know that that's true. Yeah, I don't know that could be true, but I mean that's what I forget who said it.
Well, I like the fact that he went for it too, and I'm the same way. If you can't get that on fourth down, I don't care if you're on your own 1-yard line. At that point, if you can't get an inch, you just don't deserve it. And I'm saying I like the call. I like the aggressiveness right there. It just goes back to the same sorry offensive line. It probably wouldn't have mattered if we'd had everybody in there. It's the same sorry offensive line that hasn't blocked all year long. But there's no way Butch Jones goes for it right there. You know for a fact he's punting it. So
I didn't have no problem with him going for it. I mean, my goodness. I mean, you got a 4-6 football team that's fired their head coach. I mean, you've got an offense that it's not like that they're going to put fear in anybody. So, I didn't have a problem with it, especially with it. Like I said, I mean, it was literally
I
like
had more of a problem with the second and third down calls than I did the fourth because you needed a yard. I can see taking a shot, but you're taking a shot with Palmer, who hasn't run the right route one time this year, I don't think. And then third down, I don't even know what that play. I know Garantano ended up having to scramble for it, but I don't know what the thinking was. I can see on second down taking a shot. Third down, I thought was a poor call. I would have tried to get Kelly a yard right there. But fourth down call was aggressive. I liked it with a little bit of a change. We'll see what happens this week. Hopefully some of the linemen get healthy this week and can go and they can avoid the first 8-loss season in history. And you definitely don't want it to happen to Vanderbilt as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is obviously they're not bowl eligible, but I think these kids, I hope they still have something to play for.
I'll say this. Really we all want a bowl. I've harped on it on here for weeks, but this is one season where it's good that it's ending this week. I think it needs to end for the players, the coaches, the fans. I'm tired of watching this crappy football. And it's been a tough year. I know it's been tough on the players, those guys that are coaching down there. I think this is one year where a bowl being out of reach is probably a good thing because they really need this season to be over and put it behind them.
But I hope they show up Saturday to play. I mean, it's you're facing the worst. The first 8-loss season in Tennessee history, you don't want that. You're playing a Vanderbilt team that you're basically saying you're an equal to. This game means something to me, man. So surely to God, some fat guy in East Tennessee recording a podcast out of his basement, if he cares, I hope those kids care, and I think they continue to show us week in and week out that they do care. The heart that comes out of Garantano, man, it impresses me. I don't know that he's the best quarterback on the roster, but his heart and his dedication and his will to win, he wants to win. You can see it. You see it every single week, man. I hope they show up to play Saturday, and I think they will.
Well, I know one thing: whoever the next coach is down there, next coaching staff, they're gonna have to coach them quarterbacks up because they're not getting
coach the wide receivers
much coaching at all.
Yeah, both of them.
The wide receivers are awful.
I mean, I'm trying to I've thought about it and I haven't looked at it. I could probably pull it up quick, but I'm trying to think what we got coming back for offensive linemen next year. And
yeah, because you've
got, I'm thinking off the top of my head, you got Richmond, you got Trey Smith, you got Johnson. Supposedly you're supposed to get Chance Hall back. You should get Tatum back. The Locklear guy, one of the guys red-shirted. Is it Colbert? Is that his name? Of course, I think he was more of a project when he came in. Who else? I mean, one first chance at bowl. I wonder if there's a chance Boulware may come back with a new coach coming in.
That's been asked before, and the insiders, say on VolQuest that it's not likely that they don't think that that's possible.
I mean, Jones is gone. Yeah.
I hate that.
So,
yeah.
That's why
I think I read, I was going to say, I think I read somewhere that there may be about 6 offensive linemen that on scholarship that would be eligible to come back next year. That's scary.
Yeah, that's bad.
That's scary. That's why that you've got to find a way to get Cade Mays back. I mean, you've got to. I mean, whoever this next coach is, I mean, I'd be like, as soon as the press conference is over with, I'd be going to his house or his school or picking up the phone and calling him or something.
I mean, that would be a huge step because, I mean, he would have the opportunity clearly to start from day one. And with Smith, that's 2 of 5. And I know it takes more than 2, but that's 2 guys that you think can get the job done.
Yeah.
That'd be
2
a
right
big
there
step.
that are, I mean, you have got to do that. I mean, whoever this next coach is has to do that. I mean, that has to be the first priority with that, with Gruden. That has to be his first call.
I love the confidence of the statement.
I think they're at least. I'm trying to think. I forgot about Brooks, who's been playing some. So that's at least 7 to 8.
Yeah,
I think, or maybe
Brooks,
8 coming back. But you don't want to go in with 8 by no means.
And honestly, I worry if Chance Hall will ever be back. I just worry if that knee is just not chronic, and if it's going to be too much, which I had high hopes for him because I know that he was kind of raw playing offensive line, but I felt like that if he'd have stayed healthy, that he could have really been a good tackle.
Him and Jones both. You heard they were 2 that we hopped quite a bit on here. It's just sad, man.
It's just been crazy. I mean, it has. I mean, I don't understand it. I'm just glad Jones is gone, and we'll see what happens. We'll see. I mean, heck, who knows? Maybe 2021 the groomers will fire back up again.
I think this is it on them here.
What sucks is, we said in our text thread, if he ain't coming this time, to hell with that guy. I'm done with him. He should have stopped it. If he ain't coming, he should have stopped it. And if he didn't, you could say, well, he doesn't know anything to the school. Well, then he doesn't care enough about the school to put a stop to it. Because like you touched on earlier in the podcast, it needs to stop. If he's not coming, they need to put an axe in it and in this nonsense.
I just don't think it's dead.
I just love all the insiders.
If that's the case, that's fine. Because, look back to 2012 when he went on Mike and he axed it. But this time, never say never to nothing,
I just don't think, Thursday night, a lot of conflicting reports. You had a lot of former Vols tweeting out. They were excited, made you think something was going on. The insiders, the quote-unquote insiders were hearing good things. And then all of a sudden, things started to turn a little bit. But I will say with the 247 guys, they've been on it, and they're still claiming it's not dead as of Friday night. They haven't really reported anything last day or two on the rumors or anything. But from what they said Friday night,
well, you ain't gonna get nothing out of the VolQuest guys.
I'm surprised it's taken us almost 50 minutes for that to come about.
Well, I mean, honestly, they just don't have any information. But you don't know what 24/7 is reporting is accurate. I mean, you don't know. But I think that's the hardest part about this coaching search as far as leaks and information is Currie is playing his cards real close to his chest. And I don't think anybody truly knows what's going on. But the fact that he's taking commercial flights and flying to Detroit and, I mean – who knows who he's meeting, wherever it was. Who he's meeting up there. Who knows what he's doing? I don't know what he's doing.
Well, and that's what's weird about it, because Hubbs claimed that he had narrowed it down, that it was an assistant coach. I mean, what is he meeting with an assistant coach for?
Well, that stuff keeps coming up, and in the back of my mind, I'm just going, Gruden. It's like, that's all I know to say.
But seriously. I mean, why is he meeting with an assistant coach?
Yeah, he's not hiring an assistant coach as the next head coach.
I mean, I think
unless he went up and met with Franklin,
an AD,
because the rumor was he met with Penn State's defensive coordinator. Unless he's up there meeting with Franklin, which, man, that would be the hire of hires right there.
I'm telling you right now, I just don't think
I'd
it's
take
possible.
that in a heartbeat.
I don't think it's possible, but if it was Franklin, he'd be way up on my list.
I think he would too. I can't see him leaving Penn State because I think he's from up there. Yeah, exactly.
That's where he's from. Yeah.
Unless Curry's just covering all his bases or whatever. I mean, I could see that, but yeah, I'm the same way. It ain't gonna be a coordinator. The only coordinators that people could probably get on board with and would still have questions would be Cooter and T. Martin. And there's going to be a lot of questions about T. Martin. Cooter would probably be a lot more qualified than Martin to do it, just based on.
I think it would too. Questions on both of them, honestly.
But
all that rumor out there about Martin as coach in waiting for Gruden.
I would be on board with that.
That theory's out there.
I'd be on
board out there that Martin. Martin would come.
Yeah, basically what I've gathered, if all these rumors are true, you're going to have a staff of Gruden, Martin, Randy Sanders, Jay Graham, Chavis, Brooks,
Dale.
Who else?
Dale
Jones. I knew I was forgetting somebody. I guess
Dale
you'd probably
Jones.
get Terry Fair in there's the defensive backs coach, and then receivers coach.
Marion Hobby as the defensive
and then
line
receivers coach. I don't know who would fit under that. Maybe you get Peerless Price in there, or you could get I don't know, Swain. Maybe Swain will come out of the broadcast station and coach wide receivers. I don't know. Maybe you mix in just an unknown VFL at that point, but yeah, it's the orange tinted staff that's been rumored. I don't know. I can't see Sanders ever coming back the way he was treated down there. But it's fun to follow. Like I said, I mean, I laughed Thursday night. Like I've said, I absolutely horse laughed at just all the stuff going on, the airport stuff, the Calhoun stuff yesterday. It's crazy. It is absolutely crazy.
I was the worst with the airport, and you guys weren't saying much at the time, but man, I was sending every single update. I was watching, I was following along. Oh, it was fun. Let's make some picks on Vandy and then wrap up and get out of here. JP, I'm gonna put you on the spot first. Tennessee Vandy this Saturday. What is it? I think 4:00 kickoff.
I think so. I'm not certain on that. I don't know. I mean, part of me says that Tennessee is able to find a way to win this football game. This pick is solely just based on the fact that I'm a Tennessee homer. I think some way that Tennessee finds a way to win this game. I think it's going to probably be ugly. I mean, we'll be like, oh my God, will this game end ugly? So I'm going to throw it out there, 23-20, Tennessee wins somehow. But I will say I won't be shocked at all if Vandy just doesn't wipe the floor with us, because we did give up 45 points to them last year. Just saying.
I'm gonna agree with you that Tennessee gets it done, and maybe it's the same thought process. Maybe I'm a homer, but I saw some things that Hope did that I liked. That game was closer than the scoreboard indicated. I really think it was. I think he had a good game plan. Like I said, shortening the game, make it sloppy, man. That's going to play into Tennessee's favor. Make it sloppy, make it ugly. Find a way to force some turnovers. I think Tennessee wins a close one. I'm going to say 20-17. Vols come out on top and avoid the first ever 8-loss season.
I'm going to say, I'm going with Tennessee in this one. They're avoiding it. State pride on the line this week. I've already seen a bunch of them saying that bragging rights with, because they probably know a lot of the Vandy players and stuff, so they definitely don't want to lose to them. I'm going to say Vols. I've actually had one similar JP. I'm going to say 24-21.
Well, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of Talkin VAWLS. Again, if you enjoy what we do and you would rather listen to this on a podcast platform instead of YouTube, then check out patreon.com/TalkinVAWLS_pod. Link is in the description. If we can get, just a little bit of flow of cash coming in, we can put this on a podcast platform. That is the ultimate goal. and also some fun rewards. You want to jump on and chat with us, you want the opportunity to argue with JP over recruiting or X's and O's, there is a way you can join us on a Skype call and do that. So just check it out. Tons of fun rewards. But that's going to wrap it up for Vols, JP, and for our main. I'm Boogie Bentley. Go Big Orange.
Jack Kerouac, he drank himself to death in New England, and I'd like to take his hand, say, Jack, man, it's okay, now he's gone, and we're left to move along on without him. Songs howl like being poets at an arcade, soaking moonlit falls on broken past this inundated orb that we call home. And it's night and I'm alone and I'm alive.